Hello and welcome to another Guardians of Watchtower video. I'm your host Dewi and this is yet another tutorial. And this one I'm going to show you how to build the Easterling Watchtower that's shown in the shadow in the east. Kind of had a little play already, but it didn't quite look how I wanted it to look. So I've started again and I'm going to show you how I do it this time. To start off with, these are the templates at the correct size. And I have cut 5mm balsa wood, so they are the correct length. Next, I have placed all of these alongside, and there's nothing that seems to be under it. Well, there does. A bit of blue tack. And taken a rough measurement for the cross beams. And I've done 85mm for this one and 95 for this one, so they stick out a little bit over the edges. And I've used these, which are typical like kebab skewers. So I've cut these to 85 and 95mm lengths. For the template, I've cut out 4 for the 4 sides because I'm going to be making 2 watchtowers. For the 2 sides, and then I have for the one, so I will now show you, it turns out like this. And what I've done is I've used double-sided sticky tape to keep these bits in place while I glued the cross beams. And so this is how they're going to turn out, and I need to make another 3 of these. Just try and keep it in line. Just need to make another 3 of these so that I can then attach other cross beams. So that's the plan for the moment. That's how you do it. If you want the templates, they are in a shadow in the east. And yeah, just using skewers and 5mm balsa square wooden rods. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the minute, and I'll come back and I'll show you when they're all done. So, as you can see, the PVA has dried. I let it dry like overnight and a little bit more because I was at work, so basically nearly 2 days it has had. And now I've simply cut the templates out with a little bit of extra space on the side and glue them to the inside so I can get a good marker on where to put the crossbeams to make the actual watchtower. I found this is the best way because then it allows you can center it all and really make it stand out and make it look good. And this also means that when the next set of beams are dry, I can remove these paper bits without any hassle to the model itself. So I'm just going to glue them on, and obviously give them another day, maybe longer, to dry. Just to make sure, and that's a good thing for having multiple projects on the go at once. I can jump between painting my Easterlings, building the tents because you would have seen them already, and then building these watchtowers. So I'm just going to do that and then let it. Hello, and I thought I'd give you a quick update. So using the templates same as before, just cut them down so they would fit on the inside of these, and then I've taken them off, and this is how they are. They're a little bit uneven, but they're going to be mounted on bases probably about that high off the ground, so an inch or so off the ground. And then also using the templates I showed you from before, I've cut out and made the kind of roof beams, and the roof beams here. And I was going to use just standard square 6mm foam, however, looking at these, they're not 100% perfect, but they're good enough. I've decided to make little square ones that, after a little bit of sanding, will be able to fit just over the top. So they need a little bit of sanding, just the corners, so they can go in, or at least a little bit of chamfering. But the aim is to have, oh dear, let's pick that up and not break it. The aim is to have those across as well. So kind of similar to that, with then the tiling and everything on. And the aim is for these slots here to rest on the top of the pillars. So the roofs can be on and off and played with the troops inside. So that's the aim for a bit later on. I'm just going to wait for the second square to dry and then sand down these corner posts, and then glue these as central as possible and start on the roofs. But that's the update so far, and it's nice and simple. It's not difficult things to do. If you want to know dimensions, 2 of these are 70mm and 2 of them are 60, and then they're just glued on the insides. These templates are from the Shadow in the East book as before, and I've simply just cut them out of 6mm high density floor insulation foam. So that's the update so far, and I'll bring you back when we've done a little bit more. So after making the supports, those, and the top box, what I've done is for each corner I've just trimmed them down very slightly, and this allows the roof to sit on perfectly. And as you can see, it sits on top with the little rim around the edge as well. So I've next cut 4 more 85mm strips that are going to go across here, like so, just like that, in obviously equidistant, and then I will place a plank along the top of them to create the basis of the Watchtower shelter. I'm not going to make a kind of trapdoor. I might make one on the balsa wood on the inside, but there will be a ladder going up to the platform itself. So I might, I'm probably going to do a trapdoor on it. Probably not a big one, and not like embossed or anything like that. I could even use one from the Mines of Moria set, if I can find some. I'm sure I've got some somewhere. And then just a balsa wood across, and then balsa wood 4 sides. So that's the next plan. But at the moment, I'm allowing the roof to be detachable. I need to get some card to line each side and each curve. So I'm going to measure that up and start cutting some tiles, and also glue these in and let it set overnight. So that's how I'm up to so far, and I'll show you all the cardboard cutouts in a minute. Next, while these are drying, I'm just going to measure a little platform that I want to go across here, which will be, say 90mm by whatever that is there, which is about 55. So 90 by 55. Because then I need 2 platforms like that just to check the other one that will fit inside the bottom bit and be the length that will just protrude. So 90 is about right. So I'm just going to cut them out, and just making sure these are perfectly square. So the last thing I've done on these, if you can see, is I have scored 1 centimetre or 10mm lines for planks and cut out 3 windows. And these are 45mm by 60mm pieces, and they will go like so. Obviously there is some diagonal trimming that is needed to be done, but I have 8 of these, well, another 6, obviously for the 2 watchtowers, and these just need to be finished cutting out. So that's the next thing, and then it's moving on to the roof. I have also planks here of the that will lie across here, and I've done them in strips so that I can, if I get some out, if you can see, so I can kind of vary the platform lengths at the end of each one, so kind of a bit like that, so that it's not uniform, and then I can stick them all together. So that's the plan. They're coming along nicely. I just need to get it all done. Hopefully my cartridge paper will arrive tomorrow to finish off the tents, which you will have already seen. So this is all kind of happening at the same time. I'm on a massive hype of terrain building and painting and everything at the moment. I've just got some new boards cut, and I'm going to order some mats tomorrow that will go on them, so terrain will be different. It's just a great time for us in general, so please follow along. So since you last joined me, I have cut 4 of these trapezium shapes that are going to go on here, and what they'll do is they'll bend to the shape of the roof. I'm thinking about doing this with a hot glue gun, but I'm going to do some test pieces on some test foam to see how it reacts, because I know some glues can melt foam. I'm also going to wrap some thin string I got from Poundland around each one of the pieces where the struts meet the main supports. So that's the next task, and I'll show you when it's done. So you join me a little while later, and what I've done is I've cut this string, which is just from Poundland, into 7cm and 5cm lengths. The 7cm have gone around the corners and where the big beams attach, and the 5cm have just gone around here. And what I've simply done is superglued the end so that it doesn't fray. Superglued one end to a section, so generally like the inside. That's what I've done on these, and just on the outside, kind of might be able to see in there. And then simply just wound it around in any kind of fashion. And I'm really liking how it's come out. And I've got all the beams in there to go across the top. So what I'll do is I'll just do the second one, and then show you the beams and start building up the top portion of the watchtower. So after doing one test piece, I found that once it's curved it sticks out too far. So I've come up with this design, which is exactly the same as before. It's exactly the same as this one, except as you can see I've just taken a small kind of nip out there so that they won't overlap when being glued to the roof. So that's the next stage, is to glue the rest of them on with my new glue gun, and then make another 4 pieces for this roof, and then the roof is nearly done. And as you can see, I've started to cut out the tiling and make it kind of how it should be, and then these will go in layers along the roof and gradually move up and move up. I've also purchased this, which is kind of blue electrical sleeving. It's 3mm. I got this from B&Q for £1. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it in half along like the centre of the circle to run down the edge of each of the corners. So that's the plan. I'm not sure whether it worked. I thought as it was £1, I'm just going to get it and see what happens. So yeah, I'm just going to crack on with the roof and see how much I can get done. So as you can see, I have attached the planks to the top of the or to the tower itself, and I've used 2 deodorant cans because it's a very tight fit with all 11 planks in there. Like really tight. I had to force them in. So just to keep them all down, you can see that like the slight undulations there. To keep them all down, I'm just going to use these because they're pretty full, so they're nice and weighty, and I will leave them until tomorrow, I would have thought, or at least maybe tonight after I get home from work. And as you can see, both roofs are finished. So these are coming along really quickly now. I've got all the parts, and I just need to cut out all the tiles and stick the tiles down next, which I think I will do a little bit later. Oh, I'm still just trying to get rid of excess glue that's melted around. But I'm really happy with my new glue gun. It's a Loctite hot melt glue gun. High performance. I got it from B&Q for £12, and it does better than the one I ordered off eBay ages ago. It doesn't drip much at all, and the glue comes out nice and thin. So I'm really happy with that. So yeah, it's a case of just getting all the tiles on the roof now, cutting some bases out, and so I'm going to glue some sheets of polystyrene together now. So I've got room for bases, and I need to cut some MDF out at some point. But that's pretty much it. I've just got the tiles and then the paint job. Next, you can see from the strips that are like this that I've cut, and you can see you can just stagger them like that, and they follow the curve of the roof, which is awesome. And I've already done 2 sides. I've just got to cut out the other portions, because each of the long square template does basically one side of the roof. And I just need to move that very slightly. So what I found after doing the sides, the first side I trimmed on every layer, which looks alright. The second side, especially this under bit here, what I did was I stuck them on like this, so there's kind of the overlaps, and then got a brand new blade on my knife and just trimmed all the way down, which works really well. And I'm really happy with how it's coming out. It just takes a little bit of time, that's all. But these are very nearly finished. I just need to do the roofs, and the tubing I bought, because it's not perfectly straight, I think I'm going to cut it into sections, similar, so it's kind of like a tiled slot, which I think will work quite well. So I just need to get these done on that and the other roof, and then trim these bits down and glue them onto here. So that's where I'm at so far. There's not much more to show you, and it's just time consuming the next bit, so I think I'll come back and show you when the towers are pretty much fully built, with the roofs all sorted. I might show you how I do the separate strands, but apart from that, it's just time consuming, and I've got to make some bases for these as well. So next, I'm just going to lift these on to a piece of polystyrene, draw what I think is a suitable outline for where the watchtower is going to go, and then I'm not sure whether to do it one thickness, so 125mm thickness with a little drop in like indentation, or to do 2. I'm not entirely sure, so I'm going to make some of each and just reuse what I need to. So it's a case of just isolating and making the watchtower look like it should do on the base. So I'm just going to draw the outlines and then glue these together overnight. So I've cut out the bases for each one, that way around. And I've cut out a small slot for the middle because I'm going to put some wooden palisades up the sides and up the back. And then a ladder, obviously, leading up to the watchtower. And next thing I've got to do is just taper the edges. So I'm going to taper them quite shallow, but still enough that it looks decent at a distance. So, and then I need to cut some bases out at some point, but I'm going to finish the rest of the towers before that. So it's a case of just tapering these and getting the rest sorted. And so, as you can see, I have now angled and beveled all of the two bases. And also, I don't know if you can see because it's really wide, but there's a little hole in there. And there's 4 little holes, and I've already kind of measured these up and lined them up. And the watchtower fits in perfectly. So that's how they're going to be. I simply just need to finish the roofs and put the walls in the top layer and attach a ladder, as well as cutting the MDF bases and making some little palisades on the inside. But apart from that, these are nearly done, so I think there's another couple of hours of work and these will be finished as well, which is so much fun. So as you can see, I have cut the MDF bases and beveled the edges. To bevel the edges, I've bought a new jigsaw, and it can do a 45-degree angle, so I did that, and then used the sander that I bought the other week to finish off the bevel. And it makes life quicker, and I think it gives a really good result. Really good results, because even if you miss a little bit, a very, very tiny bit, which will have sand on it anyway, you get still an angle. So the next thing to do is to glue these down. Just a bit of leaves and stuff from outside. Glue these down, let them set, and then I can start working on the bases, and then I can gradually finish them all up. And I'm going to polyfiller all of the edges so I can cover it in sand. And then it also provides a nice steady gradient. So as you can see, I have used my sander to get rid of a lot of the larger areas on the filler around the edges. I'm going to sand this in a minute, but first I've added some like palisades on the inside. They're all different levels and all going to be painted with the wood. I think I'm going to leave it like that and put a bit of filler down over this bit here to kind of mould it in, so it seems like the ground is kind of driven round and a bit kind of down there, or even shave some of this off to make it a little bit steeper. But that's what I'm going to do. I've just got to do the sides on the back one, and it's simply a 3-4 mil balsa wood, cut and scored, and just different heights taken off. Really, really simple to do. So that's all. So next I'm just going to sort these edges out here, maybe put a bit of filler down, and then I've just got to sand all the base. So as with the tents, I have base coated these the Java Bean Emulsion from Wilkinson's, or Wilco's as it's now been rebranded, I think. And these are just going to sit. They've got the holes in for the Watchtower itself, which should, I did a little dry fit earlier, should still be fine. I am going to flock these before I stick the towers in, I think. Flock them and spray them with really watered down PVA, just so that the flock can stick. And then it'll be on to putting the watchtowers on, but I think I'm going to start painting the watchtowers at least while they're off the bases. So that's where I'm at at the moment. I hope you're enjoying these videos, and they will continue whenever I build scenery. So as you can see, the 2 watchtowers are finished. Well, finished as in put together. And this is how they will be. I really like how they look. It gives them a nice little bit of character. It looks like they're real built on platforms. So these are done, along with the 2 roofs. They're all finished. I'm now going to cut up this, which is just simple electrical kind of, or thin plastic tubing. And I'm going to try and cut it into probably like, let's see, probably like maybe 15mm lengths. Yeah, 15mm lengths, I think. And then in half, so they can go over these ridges to cover up some of the knife work I've done. As this is the first attempt on anything like this, I'm really happy with how they've come out. I do really have to tidy the edges, but apart from that, I'm really happy with them. So I'm going to crack on with that, and then I can start painting. So, as you may have seen before, I think the last clip was me trying to use this stuff to make the ridges. However, it didn't work. This is one of the kind of just trial and error things that I've been doing with these projects. So I have got the templates, put them back to back, printed them out, but they're at 75% of the tiles. And as you can see, I'm using them to line the edges of the roof, which is coming along really well. It's nice and quick. Well, apart from the cutting out, it's nice and quick. They go on fine. You just got to hold them down while the PVA kind of gets tacky. But apart from that, it's all good. So yeah, these are the last little bits I've got to do before painting. Apart from just put a little top cap on here. These are the last bits I've got to do. So I'm really, really happy with how they're coming along. I think this is everything. I've just got to paint it. I've got an idea for the future, but I don't think I'm gonna. If I do, I'll show you in a hobby vlog. Just to give them a little bit something extra. And I don't mind if the tiles are slightly raised like there. It kind of fits the bill. So I'm just going to crack on with these and get these all finished, and then I can really paint everything. So next, to cover up the top bit, I've cut out this little panel here, and it is very simply a 10mm square in the middle, and then a line 10mm in length from the middle of each side, and then a 20mm length either side, and then just join the corners. And I've done this on the computer, cut it out and glued it together, and it comes into this little hat type thing. And this will be very simply glued on the top. And that signifies the end of the actual building process. It'll just be the painting and the flocking left. So I'm going to stick these down, and then later on tonight I'm going to crack on with all the painting. So I have painted all of the watchtower, and the roofs have had 3 coats on them because of the black underneath of woodland fawn. It's just a simple emulsion paint from Wilco's. All the woods had 1 layer, and I've gone over the green nylon string a second time, just to get rid of as much of the green as possible. I'm going to try and make a wash out of the emulsion paint, just using water, and just to try out something. I'm not entirely sure it's going to work. Hopefully it will, because then it will show up all the detail on the wood. But that's the next step. As you can see, these are coming along really nicely. They're perfect. They fit. This is kind of a little sneak of the thing itself, of the Watchtower itself, which I think looks really, really good. So yeah, that's the next plan. The rope itself is going to be a dark brown, and the roofs I'm going to dry brush with a Liberator Gold or something like that, just to give it a little bit of a shine, because it's an Easterling Watchtower after all. So that's the plan. You'll see it in various stages later on. So the one on the right is one that I have washed with a wash I made out of the emulsion paint. Just a bit of paint and a lot of water. Very simple. Literally just completely covered it. And then this one is one I've dry brushed again. So you can see it still maintains that kind of a lot of the colour, but yet has the edges all like, so it makes it a little bit more vibrant. So I'm going to dry brush this one again, and then I am going to paint all the strappings a darker brown. Excuse me. Paint them all a darker brown, and then paint in the recesses a dark brown as well, so it really gives that panelled effect. And then these are nearly finished. Just got to glue them down and flock the bases. And so, as you can see, this is the next stage. So the wood has been painted with Woodland Fawn from the Wilkinson emulsion paint range, then washed with Java Bean wash, so it's just watered down emulsion paint. And then I've used Rhinox hide to paint all the kind of strips to make the wood look like planks. I haven't done the inside because generally you won't see it. And then the rope itself has been painted Java Bean. This is it for the tower. Obviously you haven't seen that one because I was just testing this one out. I've done underneath as well. Excuse me. This is it for the tower. I've just got to glue it in the base, but I'm going to flock the bases first, I think. Just to make sure all the grass can get where I want. And I've just got to do the roof, which, well, I'm not entirely sure yet. Will be some dry brushing of some sort. So I hope you've liked this video so far, and I'll show you when they're pretty much done. So, I think you can just about see it, but I dry brushed this with a Liberator Gold. If you can kind of see the bit of a shine it's got. And now I'm using the Rakelin Flush Shade Gloss to give it a bit more of a shine. And I'm probably going to do one more Liberator Gold dry brush on it, just to make it pop a little bit more. I think I'm going to leave the top this colour with kind of the burnt wash around the edge. So I think that's the plan so far. I'm literally just making this up as I go along, but I think it's going to work quite well on the tower. So we'll see. Maybe I might put another thin wash on it as well, but I'll let you know when I've decided. So you can see a bit more clearly this time that I did apply a second coat of Rakelin Flush Shade Gloss, and I dry brushed again with the Liberator Gold. And I think it gives a very nice shine and nice colour to an Easterling building. Because if I grab one of the warriors, you can see it's a similar type of colour. I'm really happy with how these have turned out. This is basically it finished, just without the flock on the base, obviously. And I just need to do the other one. So I'm going to crack on with that, and I'll show you once they are flocked. So as you might be able to see from these two mounds, I've flocked them. This one only has one colour of flock on, and this one has a second darker one on top. And I think it really makes it far more realistic and really works with the whole scene. So the towers are finished and ready to go. I've got some Uruk siege ladders that I've simply painted brown. That's all. And I've just got to put the final flock on this one and then let it dry. And then spray it with PVA a bit later to try and help seal the grass itself and make it a little bit more resilient to gaming. People shouldn't go up it really because you don't need to, but generally I just want it to be a little bit more resilient. Just going to let it dry, spray it with a really watered down PVA mixed with a little bit of fairy washing liquid or a little bit of washing liquid, and then hopefully they'll be ready and I can stick the towers in. And the final stage is to apply a generous PVA spray to both mounds. Hopefully I've kept them the right way around. I can't quite remember. And all that's left is to stick the towers in and put the ladder up, like I said, which will take all of like 5 minutes. And I'll probably do the ladder while the PVA is still drying for the Watchtower themselves, so the ladders can stick really easily.